Welcome to the Stizzy Chronicles. I'm Stizzy. And today I'm going to be bringing another video for my playlist, Goodies, Gadgets, and Gears. This time it's going to be for the car. Seventour sent me one of their backup cameras. So today we're going to take a look at it. I'm going to be unboxing it and then also installing it into the Ford Fiesta. It doesn't have a backup camera. I do have additional mirrors that I put on the side to make backing up easier, but now we're about to make it easier. First things first, let's get into the unboxing. So this is what was sent to me from Seventour. This is the actual car backup camera. If you're not familiar with the company Seventour, they have an Amazon storefront. So if you're interested in purchasing this product or any products that they offer, you can find them on good old-fashioned Amazon. They focus on automotive and electronic stuff. So they have obviously backup cameras. They also have dash cameras, subwoofers, and car monitors for your head seats. Fancy dancy. Let's go ahead and continue with the unboxing and see what else we have. And away we go. So let's take a look at this manual, which I am a big fan of because of these color photos, which are humongous. I actually really appreciate this. I love a good manual, and considering that they don't have a lot of installation videos on their YouTube, Seventour does a good job making up for it with this manual. The system itself comes with this 7-inch monitor. The footage will come in color and 1080p. Next up, we have our power source, so you can hook this up into your cigarette lighter or your 12-volt socket or whatever the heck the thing is called. We have our mount for the monitor, so you can either attach it to the windshield or your dashboard. And this is a little sticky gasket that they include in case you do decide to use the dash. These are the wires that I dread the most because this is what connects to your power supply for the backup camera, which would be your reverse light. It is 15 meters long, aka a little under 50 feet. So this camera system will work on a car, a truck, a van, and even some of the smaller RVs and trailers. The TC-1 backup camera does come with integrated parking distance control. This is a radar buzzer which will emit a sound, and the closer you get to obstacles or pedestrians, the more urgent the alarm sound is. This little thing is the actual backup camera. It does have night vision. It films in 1080p. The casing itself is supposed to be waterproof and dustproof, and it's currently secured to a bracket, a license plate bracket, which you will get a total of 3 in the backup camera kit. And the 3 brackets just give you different mounting options for the camera based off the design of your vehicle and where the license plate is set. Now, at the time that this video was filmed, in the actual manual, they only discussed 2 of the mounting brackets, and that causes a little confusion later on, so be sure to stay to the end so you can see what I mean. We have the 1 bracket which allows you to go from left to right. So if I was to put this in the screws, I could still move this a bit, right? We also have the one that's currently set up, which is for up and down movement. So if you put it where the hardware is, you could move it up and down. But with my car, I don't have a lot of movement if I was to use one of these, because just where the camera is the button in order to open the trunk. I'm gonna need that. Granted, I have something on my fob that allow me to open the trunk, but I don't want to lose that feature. So this doesn't look like this is gonna work for me. This doesn't work for me either. The amount of movement that I have is not enough to really give me clearance in order to get to the button. This one, which is the one that they don't tell you much about it, may be the way I have to go. This will put me in a spot once the camera's on it to still reach that button. So I think I'll have to go with that route. I just wish that they had actually discussed this in the instruction manual, or how it's set up if you choose to use this bracket. These are the only 2 that are actually pictured. Now the next thing that I need to figure out is where I'm gonna mount the monitor. You know, at first I was like 7 inches, that's not too big, that'll be fine. But now that I'm actually in the car and I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, this might be a little harder than I anticipated as far as finding the perfect spot. So we do have the suction cup mount, a little suction here. This actually is adjustable in 3 different places. We have this arm here, which is adjustable. We have the length, which is adjustable, and then this ball head adjustment. This is what's going to actually attach to the monitor. So let's get this situated. So once we get these into place, That seems good and sturdy. Here's a moment of transparency. In all honesty, I really don't like car accessories that require an additional monitor to be placed in the car for this very reason. Trying to figure out where it's going to go, where it won't obstruct your vision. But depending on your budget, the things that are integrated into the dashboard may not be something that you can actually afford. So we definitely going to try this out because the girl is broke. And because the struggle was real, I gave up on trying to figure out where the monitor was going to go. And then I started plotting on where the wires would feed into the car from the backup camera. And then I also had to figure out which one of these dang on lights was actually for the reverse light, because I need to tap into that wire in order to power the camera. So I had to hop into the car, and for my Ford Fiesta, I have to put it in the on position, not the engine on, but like the accessories is on, then put it in reverse, hope that the car don't go rolling down the road, hop in the back, and then look at the light to make sure I knew which light I was supposed to be working with. And you see the light? I know granted it's daytime, so it's kind of hard to see the light, but you can kind of see the light. You see it? You don't? You see it now? What about now? Good. Now it's time to put the car back in normal position so I feel safe and am actually safe doing the installation. At this point, I'm now plotting on getting the wire set up, but before I can get the wire set up, I gotta figure out where the wires are and figure out what wire goes to what, etc, etc. This is usually the stage, not the stage that you're watching right now, because you can do this. Anybody can do this. Believe in yourself. But the stage that is coming up, where it's time to actually tap into the wire, Seventour does recommend, if you do not feel comfortable doing this, to go ahead and go to a professional. Once again, your girl is broke. That's not an option for me. I'm gonna figure it out, and figuring it out is what we finna do right now. My original plan was to find the wire that went directly into that light and then to tap into that. However, Ford tried to play me because I couldn't get the dang on thing out. And just so you know, it's not just me. I did do a Google search and I was looking on the forums. Other people said they struggled. It's because there's this little thing, this little notchy notch. I don't know car terms, but I can try to show you. All the way in the back there's a little thingy that I need to do something to in order to get it to release. I couldn't do that. I couldn't even reach it. So we had to go ahead and figure out a new plan. So instead of tapping into the wire that fed directly into the reverse light, I decided to tap into the wire that fed the housing to the light. I had my plan, but I was actually still a little nervous about tapping into that wire, so I decided to do something else, which was removing the backup camera from the bracket it was on and then putting it on the bracket that worked with the design of my car. I did run into some problems during this stage. The screws that fed into the camera casing wound up being stripped. I was able to get the first one off with no problems, and the second one at first would just spin without actually coming out. I then had to try to be creative in order to get it out. Then when it was time to put it back onto the new bracket, I couldn't secure it because the threads were stripped. Now with this being a company that sells through Amazon, if this happened to you, you would be able to exchange the item. They also have a customer service email listed in their manual so you can reach out to them, but I decided to try to wing it. With the bracket mounted, I removed one of the license plate cushions in the very back and then used that hole in order to fish the wire inside the trunk. With that step completed, it's now time for me to face my fears and start working on the wiring. To locate the positive wire, aka the power source to the reverse light, which is also the wire that you need to tap into, I used my multimeter after putting the car in reverse, tested all the prongs until I found a positive 12-volt charge. Per the manual, Seventour does recommend tapping into the power source by stripping the positive cable and wrapping the camera cables around the exposed portion. However, I didn't feel 100% comfortable with that method, and also the wire stripping tool that I had was too big for the space. I had some quick connect splices from a previous project, but once installed, those are pretty much permanent. I wanted something that was reusable in case I ever needed to replace the camera. That of course meant I needed to go to the store and see what my options were, and instead I found these wiretap connectors, which are pretty cool because they're reusable. They are a little expensive, much more expensive than the simple splices that I had earlier. With these wiretap connectors, the gray side will puncture the insulation of the power source and the red side can be connected to an accessory. Both sides can be removed, relocated, or a new accessory can be attached. Since I have my tap connector installed, I want to test it first before I worry about fishing the wires through the car in order to set up the monitor and everything else. All right, so these two connect, pretty simple. So that is part of the backup camera and the monitor. Then we also have the sound to our sensor. So there's a sensor in the back with the camera, and this lets you know like your proximity. So if you get too close, you hit the beep, 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 beep. We're gonna get that connected. And last and final will be the connections to the monitor. So we have just this cord that needs to go into the cigarette lighter. So everything is connected. Now I just gotta power everything on. Oh, look, we do have success. Now I do have this funny. Okay, so the car's not on, but there is an image. The sticker is still on, so gotta take that into consideration. So it's on. This may not be the best image for you, but it's on. And then if I put it in reverse, then the lines pop up. So I think as a whole, it's hooked up properly. I just gotta perfect it. But we're moving in the right direction. With the sticker off, we have a nice image. The unfortunate thing is currently upside down. And I've already checked the pictures in the manual to make sure that the camera is in the right position. And I've already made sure that the camera is in the right position. It is towards the passenger side seat. Per the picture, it should be okay. But we do have some features here on the monitor itself. I'm gonna try to play around with everything to see if I can get this oriented the right way. As of now, I'm still having trouble with the orientation of the image. It's essentially upside down, it's backwards. And then when I have the background the way it should look, then the words on the display are not correct. I don't understand which way this camera is supposed to actually be mounted because it's pictured two different ways in the manual itself, first and foremost. So I have one which has a completely different bracket where the camera itself is on the driver's side. Then just underneath that, all of the images of the camera is on the passenger side, which is how I have it. So that's something that I'd like for them to address. The pictures and the instructions are confusing. To get the image on the display correct, I did take the bracket off and flip it upside down. So now we have the camera itself is on the driver's side. I can still get to the button that allows me to open the trunk release, but because the screws, the threads are messed up, one of the screws actually came out and I found it just sitting on the back of the car here. So I'm gonna have to glue it down or do something in order to make sure that those screws don't move. Maybe get some Loctite or super glue. I haven't really decided on what I'm gonna do, but that at least solves this particular problem. It took a little finagling, and yes, I was frustrated, but I figured out where the error was in the installation of the mount itself. It was mounted incorrectly. The camera mount was mounted incorrectly. One of the things that I think confused me is just the pictures that are included in the manual itself. When they have pictures of the bracket and the camera is on the passenger side, and I use that as my reference. There's also other images where it's on the driver's side, and I didn't take note of the fact that they were different and try to figure out which way it needed to be mounted. We got the car running. We also have the image sitting properly. The text and the video itself is reading the way I'd like it to read. Now the car is currently in park, but once I put it in reverse, then our lights pop up, or not our lights, but our lines. And in this area, you can actually adjust that to your preference. I'll go with that for now. And the cool part is there is the sensor that lets you know that you're getting too close to an object. So this comes also with the kit. This is also set up to everything else. So if I start backing up here, there you go. So there you go. You get some warnings. Not too fancy as far as the features. They keep it rather simple. You can change the brightness, the contrast, saturation, tint, the zoom. This isn't, let's take this down. It's not actually set in place. see, so with the menu we can change the zoom. This is our current wide view, and then we can make it smaller if you so choose. I'm gonna keep it that way. The first channel doesn't exist, however it's built into the system. There's only one camera for this, so you want to make sure everything that you do is under the second channel. This is where if I wanted to, I could flip it, so mirror image, or have it so I can read it. I believe that's pretty much it for, well, actually in this area you can change the language, and then this is where you can change, I believe this is how the lines appear. Yes, this is going to be how the lines appear in the menu. I'm sorry, in the menu it talks about the 5 different options, so you can change it from the setting as well. Okay, and then OK is another place where you can change the image. The image changes as well as the text on the screen, so keep that in mind. This is the picture quality when driving during the day. This is the picture quality when driving at night and there are no street lights on the road. But if you're driving down a road at night that's well lit, the image looks much better. Now let's actually use the camera for what it's meant for, to back this thing up. Had some time to play around with the monitor, had some time to play around with the backup camera, and I'd say for the price point it definitely is a great option, especially if someone's looking for something that they can install themselves if you feel comfortable with these steps. Some suggestions that I would have for Seventour is, one, maybe updating the pictures in the manual. 2, maybe putting on the camera which way is up, just so people don't get confused like I did. And then also definitely put some reinforcements in that camera casing where the screws are going in, because as of now, one of the screws has already fallen out. And of course, if I'm on the road and any of these screws come out, there's a big chance I'm gonna lose the camera. For the camera that I have, I can certainly use some Loctite or some glue to get these screws into place. But then if I ever need to adjust it later, that could be a problem. Now, outside of those minor issues with the product, some other concerns that I have would be the design of your vehicle. My vehicle, for example, made this installation a little harder, or there were moments of frustration just because of the design. But that's not necessarily a knock on the product. That's just something to take in consideration. Your car design could affect the ease and options that are available to you. If this backup camera does work with the design of your vehicle and the look that you're going for, you can learn more about the product by checking the link in the description. If you've already purchased the product and you'd like to share your experience with us, let me know how you feel about the installation, how you feel about the products in the comments. I hope you enjoyed yet another video for my series, Goodies, Gadgets, and Gears, and I will see you next time.